So now what I've done is we've finished up with our third section of beading, and I've put one of the clamshell bead tips onto each one of them. So I haven't put anything on the inside of the clamshell bead tips, just the bead tip itself. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the end of our fire line cord, and just like we did in the beginning, we're going to thread on one of the BD 205s, but we're going to make a stop bead out of it. So you're going to take it, loop it around, and put it through that bead again. Only this time, we're not going to tighten it up all the way up here. Rather, we're going to take some tweezers. I have TW171 right here, and I'm coming through the loop that's going through that BD 205, and I'm going to grab the fire line right next to the bead tip, just like this. Start pulling your fire line, and it's going to bring that silver bead along with it. And as you get closer and closer, make sure that you're checking to make sure that most, if not all, of your slack taken out. Now remember, if you take too much slack out and it's too tight, there's not going to be any movement in the bracelet. So a little bit of slack is okay. And as you get down there with the bead, you're going to have to slide your tweezers out, and there still is going to be a little bit of room. Take your thumbnail and gently, 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 gently close that knot with the bead tip. If you have to, grab the fire line right here, wrap it around your finger or around your hand, and pull so it's nice and tight. Then you're going to have the BD205 nestled right into that clamshell bead tip. At this point, we're going to take WX514, our perfect thread burner, and we're actually going to get rid of our needle. So I'm just taking it right through and burning the two lengths of fire line so that I can make a knot out of them. If you want to actually remove any additional length of fire line, you can do that as well. But I'm just going to make a couple of quick little knots. You can do a square knot, you can do a surgeon's knot. I'm just going to do some overhand knots because I'm going to use a little bit of GL527 on the knot to give it a little bit more secure hold. So again, got my toothpick, got a little dollop of glue right here, and then just put that right onto the knot. You don't need a lot. This glue is going to go a long way, so don't cover the whole bead with all the glue. Just a tiny bit right on the knot itself will do just fine. And allow that to sit for 10 minutes, and it should be ready to go. Repeat this step for the other two bead tips, and then I'm going to show you how to attach all of the clamshell bead tips to the other side of the clasp. Use WX514 to remove the extra fire line tails. We are just one step away from having our bracelet complete. All of our end caps, or our clamshell bead tips, have been put on, and all of our stop beads have been put inside with the drops of glue on there to seal the knots. When you're working with a clasp like this, there is a certain way that it attaches. So you want to make sure that you attach it the correct way instead of putting it on backwards, and then you have to reattach all of your bead tips to the clasp again. So let's go ahead and just check this out and make sure that we're going to do this the right way. The clasp attaches like this. One side is going to slide on to the other side. So unlike a lobster clasp or a magnetic clasp or anything else like that, we have to make sure that it's going to attach the correct way. We don't want to have both sides of the clasp facing this way when it attaches, or it's never going to. So just double check and simply flip the clasp over. Another easy way to do it is you've got one of the knobs up here on this side, have it facing the opposite way, and you'll be set. One more thing that you should probably take a look at is which way your bead tips close. When you were looping over that loop on the clamshell bead tip, you happen to loop it with your round nose pliers one way. Well, that way is actually going to put a slight bend on it. One side of your clamshell bead tip is going to be a bit more flat than the other side. So just for aesthetic reasons, let's make sure that it's the same on this side, just so that there's no discrepancies. Now I'm going to check. Yep, that's the same. Now just like you did before, loop the curved portion of the bead tip into the same hole. So in other words, that one's going to go into the middle one, this one's going to go into the end. Take your round nose pliers, and just like before, you're simply going to loop the bead tip over. Again, making sure that that lip gets as close as it can to the back side of that bead tip. Then take your chain nose pliers and simply close the bead tip. If you have strong enough fingernails, you can always try to close it with your fingernails first and then come in with your chain nose pliers for any fine tuning. Right now I'm just checking all of my connections. Make sure that all your bead tips are completely closed. And your bracelet is ready to wear.